Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the last talk on the Noble Eightfold Path. I think you all are looking forward to hearing the talk on upper middle path. We have been talking about the middle path, which comprises of 8 steps. When we mention 8 steps, sometimes people might think that how can we find 8 steps and what is the reason for having these steps separately? Can we see these steps separately? For them it appears to be having one single practice. What it means actually, when we take one aspect, doesn't matter what, you may, as I mentioned, our feeling, body, perception, or whatever, we take one of them and try to understand what it is. What is the nature of this particular aspect? And we keep looking into it, looking at it with open mind, without any preconceived notions. We normally have all kind of conditioning in our mind, philosophy, psychology, and so forth. So we bring all of them into this practice and try to figure out where does this fit into our curriculum, in our studies, in our knowledge, and so forth. There can be some confusion. And also when people start practicing meditation, mindfulness, concentration and so forth, how these things fit into their practice. Should we always begin from one particular aspect? Generally speaking, I must say, yes, we must begin with one of them. That is understanding. As Buddha very clearly stated, everything must begin with understanding. Our entire life can be messed up when we do not have understanding. Even in ordinary, mundane, regular, day-to-day life, family life and so on, if we don't have understanding, then we always get into all kinds of confusions, misunderstanding, communications, and a lot of problems. And therefore, even in ordinary secular life, understanding must come first. Similarly, in the spiritual practice, when we try to develop our mind, we believe that we have, as I mentioned many times, we have suffering, problems. And we must understand this problem, suffering, exactly as it is, without trying to hide it or to shun aside and turn our back to it. We must face it and understand. So, understanding always comes first. And it is, Buddha said, right understanding comes first. Whether we like it or not. For instance, I saw somebody picking trash on the road, taking a big trash bag, and just now when we were walking, we saw somebody picking trash. So the person said she was doing it whenever she sees something trashy, she picked that and clean it. Why? Why does she do that? Is she crazy? I don't think so. She understands something. She understands when I pick this up and remove this from the roadside, I clean the environment, at least in this area. I cannot clean the whole world, but at least I can clean this area. And by doing so, she enjoys it. She's very happy to think that when people walk around, that they would be happy to see a neat area, clean area, without trash on both sides of the road. It is a simple thing, but she does it with understanding. She perhaps has not been thinking about Buddhist practice or Noble Eightfold Path or whatever. She does it with this understanding and keeps doing it. Is there anything wrong in it? No. It's a good thing. This is something simple, ordinary, in something somebody does in the world. Similarly, when you look at our mind, we have all kind of garbage in our mind. What we collected was the garbage on the road, outside. We have more garbage in our head, in our mind. Just like outside garbage is stinky, inside garbage also is stinky. And inside garbage is much worse than outside garbage because of this inner impurity, unclean, very unhealthy environment, psychological environment, can express through our words and deeds and make everybody around us unhappy. So the person understands, I must clean my house first, so that I can have good friendship, relationship with others whom I associate with. And I feel glad, relaxed, peaceful and happy, because I don't have this garbage in my mind. So from personal experience, the person knows this is right thing to do. That is understanding. From this understanding, the person thinks, talks, moves around, acts, and does everything with this understanding. So, we don't have to put a number to that, saying a number such and such, but we do that as priority item 1. That's a priority. So, everything in the Noble Eightfold Path, although we call it Noble Eightfold Path, we even don't want to, even if you don't call it Noble Eightfold Path, you just do it habitually. There are people who don't know anything about these terms, right thinking, right understand, right effort and so forth. They may not even know these terms at all. But yet they put this into practice. That is understanding. From their own personal experience, they understand it. So with this understanding, we move forward, and in order to implement this understanding, we make effort. We just understand, we don't sit in one place doing nothing. When we have this understanding, we do something in our thoughts, words and deeds in order to promote this understanding, in order to perpetuate this understanding, and we build up momentum with this, deepen our understanding. So we make effort to maintain this understanding and to prevent from misunderstanding arising. And when we have a right understanding, we maintain it and sustain it and continue to develop our right understanding. And we do that with mindfulness. While mindfulness means without expecting anything in return, any reward from the society or from the community, from neighbors or government, without expecting anything in return, we do it just to maintain this understanding and maintain cleaning our mind and maintain promoting and building up momentum in our practice. So this is what we do in every step of the Noble Eightfold Path in simple language. Although we use technical terms, even without using any technical terms, this is what we do. So, but while we are doing this, there are some underlying tendencies that we might get upset. Suppose you do something wholesome again and again and again, and when you do something wholesome, somebody will come and destroy it. As suppose you keep cleaning some place again and again and again, somebody comes always and put trash there. So you come and clean, again somebody put trash. You keep cleaning, somebody keep putting trash. So you get irritated eventually. That is because of your underlying tendency. If you keep cleaning without expecting such reactions, without expecting anybody to appreciate it, or even if somebody put trash there, you keep cleaning, you just don't care what they do, you just do it in order to clean your mind. Normally that is not, that normally doesn't happen. We have a limit to our patience, tolerance. Without such things, if we keep practicing, then we have moved into higher level. So long as we have this weakness of losing temper, getting upset, irritated, and so forth, in spite of our very good intention, we have the underlying tendency of resentment, or underlying tendency of desire, underlying tendency of confusion. For instance, when certain things happen and it is very painful, it is very unpleasant, physically as well as psychologically, irritating, then there is this underlying tendency of anger, greed, hatred. Suppose something is going on without any ups and downs, very smoothly, you feel sort of equanimous or neutral feeling, then you may attribute it to some permanent entity called soul or self. You might think, this is how my soul or self feels, equanimous. Why? Because you do not see the arising of this particular situation and passing away that particular situation. Because this equanimous state is not going to be permanent. Because as soon as something else happens, equanimity disappears. So when everything goes away, equanimity arises. Then we see even equanimity has this same rising and falling. So long as we do not see this, we attribute this equanimous state to something permanent. And there we have the underlying tendency of confusion or delusion. So long as these things happen, no matter how many good things we do, we still are practicing ordinary, mundane level of the Noble Eightfold Path. Each of them that I mentioned, we follow, we have this tendency. But so long as right view, right understanding in supramundane level is arising as we keep practicing these 8 steps. Even if you don't count the steps, you simply keep practicing your understanding. You make effort to overcome problems and then cultivate wholesome things and observe, practice action, right livelihood and so forth. All these you keep practicing, and they gradually builds up momentum. Then you will begin to see that this is the thing I should have practiced long ago. I have not been practicing this understanding and so forth, this in this intensity with this diligence, and therefore I have not understood things properly. Now I began to practice this, and my understanding is increasing, my effort is increasing, my livelihood is improving, my faith improving, and determination, my mindfulness is increasing, my concentration is increasing. When you increase all these things, you begin to see something that you have never experienced before. Then you begin to build up your confidence in the Buddha, who gave us this plan, this design for us to practice. So we keep practicing the same Noble Eightfold Path. Even if you don't use any name for it, you just keep practicing, then you build up your confidence in the Buddha. As you build up your confidence and your insight is increasing, your concentration is increasing, because your confidence is based on understanding, not just mere blind faith. From your own personal experience, you have this confidence, and then with this confidence endowed with understanding, you keep practicing the same 8 steps. You keep practicing. And then your doubt, whatever doubt you had about the Buddha, will vanish from your mind. That instant you fall into the higher category of middle path. That is what is called supramundane middle path, or upper middle path in our language. And there, right understanding is not of ordinary right understanding. In ordinary right understanding is understanding of Four Noble Truths, dependent origination at certain level, and believing that when you do good karma you will be reborn in somewhere else, in a better place and so forth. This is normal, lower level of right understanding. When you promote it to this high level of understanding, because of your practice, your experience, you automatically get this promotion. Nobody promotes you. It is your mental state reaches a higher degree, higher level. Then right understanding will have a different name. That is called wisdom. Wisdom and wisdom, power of wisdom, faculty of wisdom, and investigation of, or investigating the Dhamma, and then at that level your mind is not mind will not become just irritable, very of low quality. The mind itself becomes of a very high quality state. That level, this taint of doubt fades away from your mind completely. And then you keep developing your mind at that level. That is called supramundane level. And then your intention at that time In the mundane level, intention is intention to abstain from, intention to let go of your greed, intention to practice metta, intention to practice compassion, and so on. These are mundane level intention. When you are in that level, after overcoming at least one of what you call fetters, like doubt, your intention is of different quality, different kind. That is, it is just, sometimes it is called thinking, a thought of not having greed, not having thought of cruelty, not having thought of hatred, and it is sometimes called absorption, concentration, sometimes it is called vitakka, I mentioned it yesterday. So it will not be of low quality. Then the mind will be free from not only doubt, but some degree of hatred and delusion, not completely. They become little weaker. And then your speech will be, right speech also become in the ordinary Noble Eightfold Path, we abstain from telling lies and malicious speech and so forth. At this level, intention of telling lies, intention of malicious talk, intention of harsh talk, intention of gossip, even the intention at this level fade away. This is supramundane level. In right action, right livelihood, and so on, the level of our mental state is elevated to higher level. And that level we practice the same Noble Eightfold Path. Therefore it is called Supramundane Noble Eightfold Path. It begins only at least we have overcome one of the very strong mental state of defilements called fetter. What is fetter? You heard and studied when you practice jhana, jhana meditation, we overcome 5 hindrances: greed, anger, restlessness, worry, sleepiness, drowsiness and doubt, and so on. So these hindrances arise because we have deeper roots of these hindrances. Deeper roots are network of roots, and they are called fetters. Fetters, they bind together because they are extremely powerful. And so long as these fetters are in our mind, hindrances arise from them. So what we do when we attain high level of concentration called jhana, we temporarily remove these hindrances. But they can arise as soon as you come out of jhanic state, they can go again. And as soon as you attain jhana again, they subside again. So this sort of battle between hindrances and attaining jhana keep taking place all the time. Attain jhana, they subside. When you come out of jhana, they arise again. Why do they arise again and again? Because their large network of roots are under them. It is just like, suppose this is the floor. On this floor, there are little plants. You remove these plants, after some time they grow again. And then you cut them and remove them, and they grow again. It is like bamboo plants. We had a very interesting bamboo experience. Even now we have it there. Somebody planted a bamboo bush behind my window. I asked him, please don't do it. This bamboo bush will cover my view. I cannot see anything through my window. He said, Bhante, don't worry. This is in America. This America. This will grow in Asian countries. Here it don't grow like that. But after almost a year, this bamboo bush grew so big that it completely covered my window view. Then I said, this is what I told you. So he felt guilty and he cut it. And after a few months, it grew again. Then he got someone to come with a bulldozer. And he removed them. After a few months, they grow again. Then somebody came, a very strong young woman, to stay here. She determined to remove it. What she did from morning till evening, she got digging bars and hoe and so forth, went on digging every inch. Digging. Finally, she found this big, this long piece of bamboo root. When she removed it, it never grew again. Similarly, in our mind, in deep down in our subconscious mind, there is a network of roots of mental impurities which are called fetters. So long as they are there, hindrances arise from them. So when we attain jhanic state, these hindrances will subside, they go again, because of the presence of the network of fetters. Hindrances grow. So when we practice Noble Eightfold Path, with name or without name, keep practicing, the impact of this practice go right deep into our subconscious mind, because we keep doing it, practicing. And then one day we see the reality, the true meaning of these steps, and that is how we have confidence, trust in the Buddha who introduced this system. And now, from that point onward, we are on Supramundane Path, because we have destroyed only one fetter. And then we keep practicing with more confidence, more vigor, more diligence. We keep practicing, then one day it happens only when we practice, only in our mind, nobody outside knows it. It happens only to one who practices it. And we keep practicing. Then one day we see all these rituals that I had been following in the past don't make any sense. I thought if I practice this ritual, I would be liberated from suffering. You singing bell 100 times and chanting something million times and bowing down 100,000 times and lighting lamps so many times and so many lamps and this and that, making some kind of circles, going in circles, and so forth. So many rituals. Keep practicing, thinking this ritual definitely brings me enlightenment, or that ritual, or this deity or that deity, this demon or that demon, black demon or white demon or yellow demon or all kinds of demons. He keep practicing, praying to them. When the mind develops in according to our practice, mind becomes sharp and clean and pure, we begin to think, boy, all these years I spent, I wasted my time. I have not gained one iota of insight. But this practice, yes. So we lose interest in believing or becoming attached to rules and regulations, rituals. Pali word is Sila Bata Paramasa. Sila Vata Paramasa. Sila means habit. Sometimes they call Kusala Sila, sometimes called, some of them are Akusala Sila. Akusala Sila means unwholesome habit. Kusala Sila means wholesome habit. The word Sila, probably you have heard the Pali word. Sila normally is used for morality, but in this particular place, Sila is habit. You can see this word used in this sense in one discourse in Majjhima Nikaya called Samana Mandika Sutta. Samana Mandika Sutta. That means we build up certain habitual practice and become attached to it. We build up certain habitual practice and become attached to it. And therefore it is called attachment to a ritual, attachment to habit. That is called paramasa. So sila, vata, paramasa. Rules, observances and attachment. Attachment to rules and observances. In the name of religious practice, people do that. So when we practice the Noble Eightfold Path very diligently and sincerely, as the steps become very clear in our mind, as our doubt fades away, then we see even this attachment to rules and rituals makes no sense. So we only at that time, with this conviction, we let it go. Mind will lose interest and drop it. And still we are in the first level of Noble Eightfold Path. And still we keep practicing Noble Eightfold Path more diligently, more confidence, trust, with clarity, more mindfulness, deeper concentration. We keep practicing. Then that is the time our notion of self completely vanishes from our mind. Friends, this notion of self keeps coming again and again in our discussion. I think people ask me during question time, if there is no self, how can rebirth take place and so on. Because this notion is, in religions, this notion of self is very deeply implanted in people's mind, religious teaching. And therefore, people have this belief. But when they practice the Noble Eightfold Path, practicing Noble Eightfold Path is, we will see not only the level that we discussed, but even at the level of dependent origination. Because everything happens depending on something else. Nothing happens by itself. They all arise depending on something else. Always. When we see this law, this is called, sometimes Buddha call it Dhamma Niyama, the law of Dhamma, law of truth. Dependent origination is a law of truth. For instance, karma is a law of truth. Impermanence is a law of truth. Dependent origination is a law of truth. Not invented by somebody or created by somebody or handed down from generation to somebody, but it is established universal truth. In physics you will learn every action has a reaction. In dependent origination, same principle with something else. That something else is ignorance and craving. Depending on ignorance and craving, in our lives, things happen. It's a very big teaching. Anyway, because of this interconnectedness, interdependent nature of events that take place everywhere, the notion of self has no place to exist. No place to exist. And one will see this truth only when one practices the Noble Eightfold Path in the supramundane level. In mundane level, one practice, but as soon as one enters the supramundane path level, by letting go of doubt, from that time onward, the mind becomes sharper and sharper and sharper, and cleaner, because from that point our practice of mindfulness, insight, practice of concentration also is intensified, and then this truth of non-self becomes very, very clear. At that level, our first level of enlightenment is complete. it has a name. Among Buddhist people, this name is very popular. People who know, have read Buddhist literature, they know this word. That is called Sotapanna. Sotapanna. What is Sotapanna? Sota, one day Buddha asked Venerable Sariputta, Sariputta, you hear the word sota, sota, sota. Do you understand what sota means? What is sota? Soto, soto, tyuchyati. What is sota? Venerable Sariputta said, Ayameva aryo attangako maggo bhante soto. This very same Noble Eightfold Path is called sota. This the same Noble Eightfold Path is called sota. And sotapanna, one who enters the Noble Eightfold Path in a supramundane level, that individual from that time onward is called sotapanna. So, in English we call it stream enterer. The word sota is used for stream of water. Also, the ear is called sota, and the flow of a river is called sota. But when Sariputta he ignored all these things. Rather he said, Venerable Sir, sota means this Noble Eightfold Path. It flows like a river water. It continues to join, connect with one another. It continues. I think in one of my talks I said the Noble Eightfold Path is given as a cycle. It's called Wheel of Dhamma. And I said the wheel represents dynamism, and wheel is something that you cannot stand still until you put it in motion. Only when you turn the wheel and let it run, move, only then the wheel stays straight, like wheels of bicycles. Only when you paddle, the wheel stays straight, but when you stop it, you have to put a support to the wheel to stay. Similarly, this Noble Eightfold Path is a stream. It needs to be in motion. That means we have to practice it. So long as it is written somewhere and put in writing and put the book somewhere, or it is as a theory in somebody's head, or it is something like just an academic subject for people to study in universities and so on, in academic institutes, so long as they do that, it doesn't do anything to us. It doesn't do anything. Only when we put it into practice and set it in motion, the Noble Eightfold Path really works. So, an individual who keep practicing, and then new things arise from this practice. If you do not practice, you will never see anything happening, anything coming out of this Noble Eightfold Path. So, So one who keep practicing it, as the person's these deeply rooted fetters fade away one by one, the person flows with the motion of the Noble Eightfold Path. And therefore, the moment the person enters this path by overcoming at least one of the fetters, from that point onward, that individual is on the stream. That's called stream enterer. That person, of course, figuratively, it is figurative speech. Figuratively speaking, that individual entered the stream of the Noble Eightfold Path in a different level. From that level onward, that time onward, that person's practice is called Supramundane Noble Eightfold Path. Now, this happened in 3 stages. First, he or she overcomes one of these fetters. That is the time the person enters the Noble Eightfold Path in that level, and from that time onward his practice was Supramundane Noble Eightfold Path, and that person in that state is called stream enterer, path of stream enterer. And then he keeps practicing it. Then he overcomes another fetter, like attachment to the rules and rituals. And then finally, when he overcomes his notion or belief in some permanent eternal entity called self, when he destroys that instant he attains the stream entry, fruition stage. Fruition. In some text, it is explained, and people who have read the Buddhist literature might be familiar with this, that these 2 states happen instantly. This moment you enter the stream entry path, next moment, less than a fraction of a second, you are in the stream entry fruition. That really is, I think, a very confusing statement. Why? Because there are 4 stages. Stream entry, once eternal, never eternal, and arahanthood. 4. And these 4 are 8 individuals. That is, each stage there are 2 individuals, individual who is on the path stage and individual who is in the fruition stage. So multiply this 4 by these 2, you have 8. So when we pay respect to the Sangha, we recite every day 4 pairs and 8 individuals. And these 8 individuals will come when you have separate one on the stream entry path, stream entry fruition, once eternal path, once eternal fruition, never eternal path, never eternal fruition, arahant path, and arahant fruition. So, these happen at different levels, different stages. So, the moment one enters the first level is called stream entry path. That moment onward, the person practices Noble Eightfold Path at a higher level. That is what we call upper middle path. or supramundane middle path. And then, friends, when we meditate, whether we have the list or don't have a list, the moment we entered the stage where our notion of self vanishes, we have already destroyed 3 of those fetters. There are 10 of them. And some people don't like to hear these numbers, categories. But it doesn't matter whether you like it or not. There is something called doubt. There is something called ritual. There is something called believing in permanent entity called self. Whether you put number to them or not, these are the practical things. We have them. Now, when at least these 3 are destroyed, removed from our mind, our future is guaranteed. Future is guaranteed. Why and how? Because such a person will not kill his mother, will not kill his father, will not kill an enlightened person, will not hurt the Buddha, will not create schism among the Sangha, and will not abandon that person's practice that is in this life. And therefore, in the rebirth doctrine, that person will never be reborn in woeful state of existence, never be reborn as in animal realm or in ghostly realm. So his future is guaranteed. He will be reborn only maximum 7 times. Maximum 7 times. I think that is a wonderful achievement. Even if he is negligent, he will never be reborn more than 7 times. Therefore the Buddha said, Pathavya ekarajyena saggasa gamanenava sabba lopadipattyena sotapatti phalang varang. Attaining this state is better than going to heaven. It is better than becoming a universal monarch. It is better than becoming a leader of the entire world. Why? Because that individual's attainment of full liberation is guaranteed. Below that, our future is not guaranteed, not definite, not certain. Anything can happen. And therefore the meditators must strive. First, of course, they must have the goal of attaining full liberation, full enlightenment. That is your goal of aiming at gold medal. When you aim at gold medal and work very hard, you may end up at least with copper. That is at least the stream enterer. So if we attain stream entry, that is the best you can do in your meditation practice. So friends, that is my last Dhamma talk in this series, and I want to encourage all of you to keep practicing and practicing until you at least attain the first level of enlightenment called stream entry, by abandoning your doubt, attachment, rules and rituals, and getting rid of your notion or belief in permanent self. Notion of permanent self is very big, very big, very difficult thing to get rid of, and from there arises conceit, arrogance and ego and so forth and so on, which always get in our way of peace and happiness. And I see you this evening again.